Story time is starting now. Mrs. Claus will show us how. Tales of wonder, tales of fun. Come and join in, everyone.
Hello, my darlings. It's Mrs. Claus here, ready with another story just for you. This one is filled with kindness, gratitude, and a sprinkle of Christmas magic. It's called The Elves and the Shoemaker, and if you're comfortable, I shall begin. Once upon a time, there was a shoemaker and his dear wife. They were good, gentle people, but life had been very hard for them. The shoemaker's cupboard was almost bare, and he only had enough leather left to make one last pair of shoes. That evening, he cut the leather carefully into neat shapes, laid them on his workbench, and said softly, "Tomorrow I will sew them together." "Ah," he said with a tired sigh. He and his wife went to bed. Well, the next morning when he came into his little workshop, what a surprise awaited him! There on the bench stood a finished pair of shoes, the most beautiful shoes he'd ever seen. Every stitch perfect, every seam smooth, and they shone as if every little bit of magic had been stitched into them. Not long after, a customer came in. He tried on the shoes, and they fit so well that he paid twice the usual price. And with that money, the shoemaker bought leather for 2 more pairs of shoes. And that night, he cut out the pieces, set them on the bench, and again left them overnight. And once again, in the morning, the shoes were finished. 2 pairs this time, and just as splendid as the first. Well, the shoemaker and his wife could hardly believe it. And the same thing happened the next night, and the next, and the next. And soon the little shop was busy with happy customers, and the shoemaker and his wife were no longer poor. Yet still, he wondered who had been helping him. And at last, one evening, he said to his wife, "Let's stay awake and see who comes." So they lit a candle and hid quietly behind the door. And as the clock struck midnight, in skipped 2 tiny little elves. They wore raggedy scraps for clothes, with bare arms and bare legs. They worked as quickly as sparks flying from a fire, stitching and snipping and tapping, and before long the shoes were finished, shining and ready. Then the elves laughed merrily and disappeared into the night. The shoemaker's wife put her hand on her heart. "Oh, how clever they are! But did you see, my love? They have no proper clothes. We must make them something warm to thank them for their kindness." The shoemaker agreed at once. So, the next day, she cut out and sewed little tiny shirts and little tiny trousers and soft coats, little stockings, and the shoemaker made the smallest, neatest little boots you could ever imagine. And on Christmas Eve, instead of setting out the leather, they laid out all the little clothes on the bench. And that night, the elves arrived as usual. But when they saw the gifts, they clapped their hands with delight. And they dressed at once. They put on their little shirts and their little trousers and their coats, and their little boots. They looked so fine that they twirled and danced, and laughter rang through the little shop. Then one of the elves turned and said, "Dear shoemaker and his wife, we just want to say thank you. You showed us great thanks and gave us warmth. You needed help and we were glad to give it. But now you're safe and your shop prospers. It's time for us to go where we're needed next." And the other elf nodded. "Remember us kindly, for we will remember you. Thank you, good friends, and farewell." With that, they bowed deeply, gave one last cheerful laugh, and skipped out into the snowy night. The shoemaker and his wife never saw them again. Their hearts were full of gratitude. Their shop grew busier than ever, and people always said their shoes carried something special, a touch of magic and a lot of love. And that, my dears, is the end of the story. I do hope you enjoyed the elves and the shoemaker. It reminds us that kindness given is kindness returned, and that sometimes the smallest friends can make the biggest difference. And that, children, is the end of story time today. I do hope you enjoyed the story, and I do hope you join me again next time. But until then, I'll say goodbye. Goodbye.
Now the story's tucked away. We had magic here today. Smiles and laughter.